Day 3 of learning Java, though yesterday I actually didn't learn as much as I could have. And I blame my 4K monitor for it. But oh well, today I will delve into design patterns and actually have 100% code coverage of my poopy calculator. Ooh, so chill. Okay. So. Let's run the test because I have no idea what the hell was I working on. Right. Take when results overflow, throws arithmetic exception. Insertion error. Right. Right. Isn't multiplying something like this resulting in overflow? Let's see. Oh, no, it's fine. Fuck. It should result in overflow. Where the fuck is the breakpoint? Oh, I can breakpoint a lambda too? Whoa, holy shit. Wow, that's so good. Nice. So much power. Okie dokie. Let's debug this poop. This must overflow. There's no way. Yes. Expecting. Resulted in an overflow. Okay. It's good enough for me, honestly. Right. Let's see what happens. This one is the last one. Add when throws arithmetic exception. Sod. It's good enough. I really don't care being that in depth in handling in verifying the error messages. Yeah. This is covered now. Yeah. So, right. Why do I have it like this weird format? So weird. Okay, and these are exceptions. Add, take, add and take. Let's add a few more. Add, take, div, and mul. Multiplied, result divided. Okay. So we'll have 3 numbers this time. So 0 times, doesn't matter actually, 0, 1 equals 2. And double initial. So that's the initial number. And that's our range. Our act, since it might be confusing, I'll do the AAA notation. Calculator, add, we add a number. We don't add a number, we are dividing it. And we expect that the result is expected. And we need to update this. So 0 times 1 is 0, 0 times 0, 1 times 0 is 0, minus 1 times 1 is minus 1. Okay. And let's say one more. 2 times 2, 4, 3 probably is 6. So can we align this a bit better? Right. Maximum, I'm not testing maximum. I'm testing multiplication probably of maximum that we still support it. Right. Minus 1 should result in double max value negative. Okay. Comma. What's wrong? This should be plus. Right, good. So yeah, this is division actually. So I'll take this and add it here. And now let's modify, let's take this because definitely I need that. And now this is assert, of course. For those who wonder what I'm doing, I'm actually writing unit tests for this application. For calculator, crappy calculator. This is not available, so 0 divided from 1 is 0, minus 1 from 1 is minus 1, 2 from 3, I don't know, so let's pick an easier one, is 2. And that's yeah, good. That's all. Looks good. So division is good, and this is multiplication. Mul. And double initial. Initial. Double trouble. Okay. Now I can run all of my tests. Actually, yeah, let's see if all pass. All pass, I'm happy. And run with code coverage. And where's the number? 100%! Woo! Woohoo! Can I run? I can. Cool. So if I run all my if I run all my Java packages, code coverage. Do you want to display coverage for all in learning? Yes. No, I did not want that actually. Okay, that's more like it. Add active suits. Okay. So my validators requires, right. This is definitely not covered. Definitely not covered. Do I have requires tests? How did I cover those? I don't have any, do I? String tests. I do, so what the hell? What's untested? What's untested? What the hell? 50%. Are you saying this is tested? What do you mean it's untested? If I run this test with code coverage, you're saying it's 50%. Why? Class? What? How do I make the class static? Is there static equivalent? There are static members in Java, but not static. The C# static class modifier doesn't really change anything about the class from a usage standpoint. Private constructor. So if I make a constructor private, does that change anything? Or does that make anything worse? Doesn't change anything, but exclude. Okay. Java test coverage static method. Not 100%. Yeah. Passive only static methods. Oh. Yeah, I did that. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. I really, really appreciate it. And well, I'm not doing anything right now, so it's quite embarrassing. I'm just learning Java. Being selfish. Huh. So is it really not possible to have 100% code coverage? I understand that it's bullshit. It works. Okay. Well, I don't want you to be created. I don't want you to be created. By the way, are you Aurora from the old days or someone else? I mean, the top student or someone else? Because your name used to be just Aurora and now it's a bit different. Someone else. Okay. Have I checked your pull requests or something like that, or not? New requires oh, okay. That's cool. Throwable thrown is catch throwable like this. For some reason we do this. we do not do this, but you're complaining because it has a private access. Okay. What? Like this. Yes, okay. Method reference. Oh, that's cool. From assert that thrown does not throw any exception. Whoops. Run. Hello world, just joined. What are you working on? Hello, I am the Leon. I am working on learning Java. Nothing in particular. Actually, I am just making a properly fully tested calculator, and as you can see, I have not 100% code coverage right now. I'm just covering it with tests, basically fail-proof calculator. And let's see if anything changed when I did that. New when null name froze. New when null name froze. Expecting illegal argument exception cannot be null, but was null pointer exception. Expecting illegal argument exception. No, not really. I'm working on testing and Java language stuff. So my notes, if you're curious, I'm learning on those things. I will be learning on async code. I'll try to tackle it. I want to try to touch enum of Java because it's quite different than C#. I want to see I already tried Lambda, as you can see in the test. I want to see optional. I want to try those libraries. Logging. I have tried JUnit, so I don't really care about those things other than custom assertions. I want to try Mockito and see how it compares to MockU. I want to understand what PowerMock is. No GUIs yet. No, I won't be doing GUI. I'm not into it. Right. I want to remind myself those principles. And I want to try double locking enum-based singleton. I have no idea what that is. I know what singleton is, but I don't know what double locking means. Okay. And I just made notes on my SQL part. So thanks for the follow. So why is it failing with a different exception than the one I wanted? It says illegal argument exception. By the way, I just noticed my screen is not fully capturing. Like, not at all. It's not... Oh god, sorry. Because I changed my monitor, so it's weird properties or something. Yeah, I don't see anything, I think. Properties. Display. Resize my OBS. Yeah, I don't think it's proper. Maybe. No, it's not. Definitely not. Like that. I don't know the effect on your screens, but how's the screen now? Is it really fucked up? I'll check it myself. Which that's good. Okay, let's see my channel, how it looks like. Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Now you can see what I'm actually trying to achieve. You see here, it's 50%. And I was wondering why does it say that my code is 50%, that this class is 50% covered, even though you see I have it tested. Basically, I have tests that are quite readable. You see it says, so it says if I am passing a string that contains something, my function that validates a string that is not null or empty should not throw an exception, and it doesn't. And another set of tests that if I run, you'll see, you understand what I mean. 66%. Well, fuck you, Java. Yeah, if you can see here, it says, well, it says if I passed null, it resulted in those exceptions, which is what I expect. Anyways, I'm wondering, so I literally covered all possible scenarios and it's still 66%. And I'm thinking, wait, it's not. It's 100. It's 100. Hell yeah. Okay. So I will make now a new set of tests. Arithmetic. Some people might ask, why the fuck am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I learning Java as a C# developer? Yeah. And the answer is, I'm trying to prove a point that if you know C#, you know Java too. Or you almost know it. And I also try to prove a point that in order to teach fundamentals of a language, you need to only know one language very well and a little bit of another, and then those fundamentals transfer from one language to another. Tomorrow I have a job conversation where I'll be tested at my knowledge, so we will see. All right, void. What do we want? My arithmetic validation. If I go to validators, we have this poo-poo, not division from 0. So arithmetic, not overflow, not division from 0. I need to test those. Okay. not overflow. So okay, not division from 0 given when division from 0 throws arithmetic exception. Okay. And here, let's add one more. From anything but 0 does not throw. Here, not overflow when overflow. I have been learning Java and all I see is Java everywhere. Python, JavaScript, C#, hell, even in PHP. What do you mean by that? How do you see Java and JavaScript? The syntax. Yeah. Well, all the languages that you mentioned are more or less object-oriented. So yeah, it's similar. Java is very object-oriented. It's not very functional. I really hate the way you do Lambda. It's quite ass, if you ask me. Okay. Not overflow when overflow. Not overflow when not overflow. And as you can see, I'm separating those key parts, given, when, then. So this is my act, this is my condition, and this is the result. This is my act, this is my condition, and this is the result. I always have these three parts, and they always represented in a test name. Not overflow when overflow. Not overflow when not overflow. Overflow. Throws arithmetic exception. Throws does not throw. So I'll first test the ones that don't throw as they're easier. Arithmetic. What the hell? Dot. Why is nothing accessible? Oh, because I'm stupid. Rename. Tests refactor. Good. So arithmetic. Not division from 0. 0. Let's simplify the name. So thrown is catch something. Alt insert nope. Import advice. Thrown Assert J. That's the one. Not advice. What the f? Alt Enter. Import class. It's not advice. What the fuck? Throwable, not thrown. Okay. Man. And now catch. Thrown. Catch. Throw. Wow. Catch throwable. Because it's non-capital, of course. Catch throwable. Throwable. Really? Come on. Let's import those things. Which is import this. Why is it not finding the method immediately? That's quite annoying. And basically we are saying that thrown, no, yes, no. Assert that thrown does not throw any exception. Let's copy this into this and not overflow, and we input a number, and that number is 1. 1 is not an overflow. Actually, let's have an edge condition, double dot max value. That's not an overflow. It expects a double, right? Oh, it expects two numbers and an operation with them. Okay. So if I have 1 and 1 and my operation takes two numbers, A and B, and I do this, it's not overflow. What is the suggestion? I don't want that suggestion. Does not throw. 2 is not overflow. However, if I do this, when 1 is fine. When 0, yeah. When overflown, yeah, overflown is when I take two numbers and they're both like insanely big, like max value. Then it should explode. But that's what I'm asserting for. Assert that thrown exception. Assert that exception of type. The type is actually here, which is arithmetic exception dot class. Is thrown by thrown with message containing overflow. Yes, let's format it a bit better, like this. Is thrown by thrown. Right, there is this interesting way of saying thrown. Yeah. And for some reason I even need to do this, which is weird, but okay. Alright. Not overflown, when not overflow, it's not for. Yes, and last one. I'll copy this. Not division from 0. We take 0. It's very simple. And we say arithmetic exception from division from 0. Let's repeat it. Actually, yeah, let's repeat all tests with code coverage. Right. What's wrong? Missing bracket. Why am I missing bracket? Because this is catching that massive thing. Okay. Anything else? The same here. Bum, 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 bum. I think I will add some music if you don't mind. Here you go. Not sure how it compares. Is it very silent? I can make it louder. Boom. Similar to my voice now. Okay. Good. Yeah, sure. 71%. Getting closer. Look, 100% validators. Yeah. But if it's 100%, I did not test the constructor of this class. Can I remove it? Well, we'll see when we clean up. Presentation, 0 lines covered. I don't want anything. I don't want presentation. I'm not using console. I'm just testing. Okay. Fundamentals. Right. BMI calculator is not gonna use it. Person. Person has one method which is getting its age. I need to test that. Calculators, person, and person tests. Right. Wait a minute, what? Division from 0. Right, division is capitalized. And this one, expecting code not raise a throwable but caught. Right, because it should have been 1. Okay. Should have fixed it. Good. And for those who wonder what the hell am I listening to, that is Aeon. This specific soundtrack is from Aeon. Very nostalgic music to me, because I have played Aeon for several years. Quite a lot of time dumped into that game. So it's not only good for me, but it's nostalgic as well. Catch throwable. Expecting illegal argument. Null pointer exception. Yeah? No, I don't expect null pointer exception. I expect illegal argument. Name cannot be null or empty. That's the message. Assert that of type is from by. Yes. But that's not all. With message containing. Well, the full message I know, so I might as well type the full message. Good. And if name is not null, new when valid args does not throw. Assert that thrown does not throw any exception. Test. And last one, the age. Get age. Returns expected. Returns years from now. Birthday to now. That's the age. Parameterized test. And I mean values source. Is there a date? Strings D doubles. Right, there is no dates. I actually don't know what the hell am I listening to. It's not Aeon. Let me get back to the album because I think it went off track way too much. Here we go. Yeah, it's back on track. There was something like method source and it's going to be a stream of arguments get birthday, get age expectations. Stream of, I have no idea about the syntax. Return stream of arguments of, okay. Stream of arguments. Stream of I guess I just need a birthday. This one is a lame one. Skip. Skip. This one is good. Yeah. Date, time. Date. Now. Instant. Let's go back to person to see how we manage dates there, because I did something there. Local date, right? That's the class. Local date. From now. Add. Let's Google up. Nope. Not what I want. String into date. Sleeping for a while. Nope. Nope. I could parse it. But this is not really what I want. Here we go. This is quite nice. Now minus, okay. I see, that's the one I wanted to try. Minus, yes, add. Wait. I cannot go to the future, I can only go back? Is that what it means? Plus? Really? Okay. Okay. We cannot create a person in the future as well. That should be verified. So birthday needs to be before. Require no. Private void not future. And we're passing date or local date. We're passing local date. And we're saying that date now is more than the date passed. Now compare to date. What's the result? Ooh, it's an int. Okay. If it's future, then this result will be more than, will be 1. That's future, if I understand. Right, so this needs to be bool now. Boolean. If is future, throw let's create a custom exception now that we are at it. Let's see the difference. There is a well, isn't Boolean a primitive and Boolean class, a wrapper around it? Because all I care is Boolean actually, I don't need the class. I don't need the object is what I mean. Though everything in Java is an object. It's like string and string. Or int and integer and so on. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it does boxing, okay. So let's make a custom exception class. Also, hello Marley. Nice to see you again. Future birthday exception. That is an exception I imagine that doesn't work. Extends, fucking hell. Wait! Are you saying that you can implement an exception? Why would I want to implement an exception? I want to extend an exception. Yeah, okay. Public future birthday exception. We pass local date, and is it base? Tell me it's base. It's not base. Super, okay. Okay. Oh, you put super in those things. Yeah. Okay. Date cannot be ahead of current time was date. Okay. If is future, throw new future birthday exception date. What am I doing wrong? Oh, right, it throws. Runtime exception. What's the difference? Because this is quite different from C#. You don't really care, just inherit from the normal one. Runtime exception is the superclass of those exceptions that can be thrown during the normal operation of Java virtual machine. Unchecked exceptions. Unchecked exceptions do not need to be declared in a method or constructor throws pause. They can be thrown by the execution of method constructor propagate outside the method or constructor boundary. I need that. You're correct. Okay. So I would use those when I don't handle my own exceptions, right? So that someone else can handle it, which makes sense. I mean, why would I handle something that happens in a constructor, right? Okay. Okay. That's cool. Not need that. Don't need that because I have my own handler. Basically, there are certain exceptions that you have to handle, like IO exceptions. Right. Which makes sense. So if it's future, again, wrong method name. Require birthday not to be future. And we're good. So if I go back to person tests. Yeah. So self-contained stuff like data classes you would never throw, right? Because it's not their responsibility to handle their own exceptions. On second thought, if it's a service, you would have a checked exception and would inherit that exception from there's an exception. Okay. Cool, cool. That's good, that's really good. I like it. So stream off local date now. Get age returns years. Get age. Then given. No, get age returns years from birthday to now. So if I have now, no, I shouldn't use now because I want to be date independent. I want to. There was one overload that I quite liked. Java date. There was one that takes numbers. This one. Local date off. Okay. Local date off. So, is there a way to mock local date class? Because I'm coupling my get age function with. Actually, no, I'm not. I should use now. I should use now, and I should use take minus, and I should do. There are different minuses, right? Minus years, and I should do 1, and I should also do minus. It's you know, if someone was to run this test just before midnight, let's say just before New Year's, it could break. So that's why I would like to be in control, but maybe I'm just overthinking. Minus years, minus. Danko said I'm starting with Python as my first language. How about... Well, I think it's a good choice. Python is extremely popular, it's very hyped. It's great. However, Python... You might, I emphasize that, be slightly lost with the syntax and with the way proper code is organized, because Python is much more script language than, let's say, C# or Java. And people who use Python often focus on just getting shit done, especially beginners. So be careful about that. Don't just do stuff, but do it well. Is my advice. So minus days 1, and this has to be 1 year old. I would have needed C#, but I probably wouldn't have understood anything. It's very similar to Python, really, at least the fundamentals. The fundamentals of every similar paradigm object-oriented language is the same. Like I'm learning Java and I understand pretty much a lot of it. So minus, and if I add days, plus days 1, it results in 1 year, it results in 0 years. So local date, birthday, and int expected years, and the template born at is years old. Okay. Java certainly allows you to find work right away, but I'm still deciding on which direction to go. I've been told that games are very difficult languages, and it's not picnic. But for the web, I don't think it's that complicated. Python for web, I don't know, it's okay. Though they're probably better choices because it's not as fast as other languages. I think even Java is better. Ooh, really? Instagram. Nice. I'd say that Java, ASP.NET Core, which is C#, Node is quite good for backend web. Okay, let's create a new person. Yeah, it's not as maintainable, and it's quite insane having a bit project on Python. Someone wrote me on Discord, let me have a look. How to design the text. Well, the tip of what to create is quite simple. Just make something that helps your life. What automates it? Programming is hard, but that's exactly why you should take it easy, slow, and not rush it. Okay. So we need a method that creates a person. Create build person with birthday, local date. There is an interesting technique. How old am I? I'm 26. There's an interesting technique for having tests that literally just does what you are testing. So by having such helper methods like I just did, I can basically eliminate all the input that's irrelevant for example, for getting person's age, everything is irrelevant except birthday. So I added this method that creates a person out of its birthday. And now I can actually say person get age and see if it works. I've been programming for 4 years professionally. However, I would say that I'm very good at only C#. However, I have coded in PHP, JavaScript, VB, VB.NET, and now Java. But I'm not proficient with other languages. I would say I'm only good at C#. I don't care about other languages right now. When you know one language, the knowledge transcends to other languages. Exactly what Marley said, it's about the way you think about the language. Sorry, not about language, about programming altogether. Principles, paradigms. Solid came in early 2000s, and this principle is still taught and widely used to this day. However, when you think about languages, they come and go. So learn the principles, the fundamentals, have a solid knowledge of them. You'll see how it transcends any language and the test of time. So I guess I could do, yeah, just age. Assert that age is what? Expected years. Is equal to expected years, okay. Wait, what? No way. No way. Java release date. No way Java is 96. 95. Okay, that scared me. I thought Java is on my birthday. Very close. Maryland. Such dope code names. Tiger, Mustang, Dolphin. Java SE. SE. Java 14. March 2020. Thousands of bug fixes. I have coded in Pascal at high school actually, and hello, Thermal Man. I have coded in Pascal, but I haven't touched much complexity. I remember Pascal had records, that was like classes. That's the last thing I remember, that's all. Okay. Must be static. Build person with date. Can I use an expression? New person. Unexpected token. Of course I cannot. Yeah. So any irrelevant float high wait doesn't matter really. Height doesn't matter really. Local date, birthday matters. And why do I call it so retarded? It's birthday, it's not just date. It's like int. Oh man, I haven't validated other things. More than 0. Private void more than 0. And let's pass in string argument and float double number. If number not less than 0. Number is less than 0. Or equal to 0. Throw argument exception number argument new, of course. And string. Okay. Trumpet, yep. Okay. So weight and height mustn't be that. Not future, not less or equal than 0. I probably should move those to its own classes, to those validation classes. I will. Let's go to validators. Arithmetic. One will be arithmetic. Not division from 0. Not future. This is not the place. Requires. Time. Public static class time. And I'll call it not future. Public static void not future. Good. And public static void not less equal to 0. Okay. Next level JS plus node, definitely not true. Node is slower than ASP.NET Core. ASP.NET Core at least is said to be the fastest. You are colorful, Aurora. Well, sure, it's very async, very concurrent. Mystic Soda, hello. I like how I have 4 viewers and everyone is talking. That's weird. Okay. So I wanted to test those. Requires string tests. Requires time tests. And arithmetic tests. Right. 2 more. What did I add? I added not less or equal than 0. Right. When 0 throws, it also throws when negative, so those are the 2 edge cases. Parameterize. CS50. I haven't looked up those codes, so I cannot tell. When 0 or negative throws argument exception. So my source is 0 and 1. Do I need multiples? I don't remember. Oh, right, it's ints or something. Floats. Yeah, I do have a bootcamp mate, and actually by learning Java I got inspired to continue it because I got a bit demotivated by the lack of audience after half a year. You know, when things are very long, it drags on and people suddenly lose interest because simply whatever takes too long, even if it's quality things, they just get tired and stop. Okay. I am planning to finish it, but the state at what it is now, it's still roughly halfway there. And I still need to catch up with having tests written for homework and homework design. And I have some crappy homework made for previous chapters. So there is quite a lot of work there, but I will do it. I will do it. It will be done. And hopefully by the end of this year, the whole thing will be complete. So value source. I forgot already how this works. Will I teach GC as well? Probably not a scope. GC, especially in C#, is such a niche topic. Holy shit, this soundtrack is bad. This is fine. It's niche topic. It doesn't add value. Like, you can code just fine without knowing it. I can mention though that basically don't leave zombie references, dereference stuff, if there's a risk of having something unused that's referenced by something else. But other than that, if something leaves scope and it's not used, it has no reference, it gets collected. Garbage collected, that's my basic idea. I don't know the niche things myself. I don't care about low level that much. eBay, come on. Okay. Parameterized tests. How did I do with person tests? No, not person tests. This one. Value source, CSV source. There was value source somewhere. Value source, strings. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so those are the floats, and if I pass 0 or 1, it should throw. What's the name of the playlist? Give me a moment, I will give you the link. Aeon, Another World. Oops. Oh, I love this also. It's very good. No. Fuck. Right, argument. Does this support arguments too? Probably not. Let's use CSV. String array. Was it many strings or was it just one string? I don't remember anymore. Many strings, okay. What is OP? What the hell? When it's one. OP. OP. I wonder how does that translate? Give me a minute. I will YouTube. Original poster. Okay, didn't know. Thanks. Number. Actually, the argument is not so important. I will undo it. Value source is just fine. Argument can be hard-coded. Final string. Doesn't matter as much as long as it matches. So assert that from assert that exception of type. What is the exception? Arithmetic exception. Class is from by thrown with message containing argument. Let's make it more explicit because A can be not very accurate. Create an exception. I already have. Here's the one. And actually, someone told me there is exception and runtime exception. And I chose to use runtime exception because it is unchecked exception, which means that I can use it without explicitly asking to handle it when it shouldn't be handled. For example, when creating a person, if I pass a date that is in the future, I should allow it to fail and just push handling of that exception somewhere else. It's pretty cool. Here, requires time, not future, birthday. I shouldn't, but how do I make them unchecked? Okay. Requires, no, not requires, arithmetic, not less equal to 0, arithmetic, not less or equal to 0. Okay. And our tests. I really hate this track. I'll skip. This is fine. Is thrown by okay. So this is good. I can't wait for AI to write your tests automatically. Indeed. Not less or equal to 0. When 0, when positive. Does not throw. It's quite boilerplate code, but I'd say that it's not useless, as it really is a great way to learn. If you want your test code to be not very redundant or concise, or you know, use the fancy libraries, you're learning stuff as well. This is relevant. Fuck. Irrelevant. Assert that thrown does not throw any exception. Okay. Okay. And this one. Not future. Not future. When future throws future birthday exception. Sure. Void not future when past throws past or present. I cannot test present, so I'll just say past. Throws past birthday exception. Does not throw any. Is there a way to mock local date time? Other than making a wrapper for it? Because that's the only way I could think of. Like, datetime provider, you wrap the datetime and then mock that, but the datetime local date that is not doesn't have virtual methods, if I understand correctly. Just a class. And now I think is static on top of that, so it's not very mockable. Requires time, not future. So what happens? Yeah, a wrapper class. Do you guys bother, like in enterprise Java code, do you bother wrapping datetime provider? PowerMock. Is PowerMock really a part of Spring? Shit. Wait, you said or, okay. PowerMock. Let's try PowerMock soon. We'll see how that goes. Requires time, not future. Are you serious? Power mock does not work. Mockito is good, but for some reason, the people that that I will have a conversation with said that they will be using both Mockito and Power Mock. Isn't it? It sounds like it's doing the same thing with two different libraries, or am I getting this wrong? Not quite. Because in C# you have Fake It Easy, you have Rhino, and the most popular is MockU. Static methods, okay. PowerMock is better, but Mockito is easier. That's how I see it. Okay. I would like to test something with Mockito as well today, before I go to sleep. Last thing to do. Okay, not future when past does not throw. I mean, you do want to test utility methods, that's normal, but why do you care for isolating them in a unit test? I mean, that's probably being a bit too rigorous about the testing itself. I don't bother with static methods. I mean, they're static for a reason. They don't have state, they don't have much thread, they don't have much complexity. I don't create classes with behaviors. Okay. Well, it's one way to do it. It's one way to do it, though you lose a lot of OP. It's okay. Actually, I'll look at it. Whooped. Yes, that's me. Did you find it from my GitHub or something? That's me 4 years ago. And I was planning to maybe... Oh, okay. I was planning to maybe also have a camera on to see if it has any impact on the viewers. I'm not sure if... I don't understand the impact of camera, to be honest. Like, what's the difference between seeing... Yeah. Is it a difference, like, for you personally? Would it impact anything? Would you feel more comfortable, relaxed, and stuff like that? Yeah, okay. I'll try to get it then. When future, so it's quite easy, just 2 test methods. I do, yeah, I agree. The moments of frustration help. Seeing me dying in pain while you see my screams. Literally. Maybe here. Small number of viewers on YouTube. I don't advertise. I don't know. I don't know what to do to get viewership. And I also don't edit my videos. If you notice, I have a ton of videos, but all of them are like raw recordings of my lessons. And when I do lessons, they're like 1-2 hour long. And also about not how to get shit done, but more like about best practices, testing, OP, solid, and so on, clean code. They are too long. They're not for your normal viewer. But they teach stuff thoroughly. Yeah, people are impatient, I know. They teach stuff thoroughly though. For example, I did 5 lessons on Solid for every letter, and I really did teach it thoroughly with a ton of examples. So like if you watch the chapter, you will understand the topic 100%. But I don't care about the viewership. I just care that there are people who genuinely look at it and learn. There have been a dozen of people who managed to get a job because of my teachings, so I'm happy for that, and that's good enough for me. Dozen of people is quite a good number. And if you look at the bootcamp, the funny thing is I haven't even seen a single dislike, so that's good. Yeah, but I think that's a bad thing that people don't care about Solid. Today at work, I really was annoyed by one colleague who I basically tell him, okay, there's this namespace, it's unused, please remove it. He said no, he will remove it the next PR. Okay, next remark. Here is this variable in constructor, it's never used, please remove it. No, I'll do it the next PR. Okay, then the most ridiculous part was in tests. He wrote 2 tests that do the exactly same thing. The only difference in those 2 tests, the 2 test cases, was that they have a different assert. One test was verifying if a certain method was called, and another test was asserting if the output was correct. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. And it annoys me a lot. The person argued that both tests are needed because they're testing distinct things. So you basically do the same arrange, you do the same act, and you pretend it's 2 different outcomes even though it's the same outcome, just a composite outcome. I really don't understand people like that. And he's my senior. I'm like lower rank than him in programming, and I don't want to argue. He won't understand. Because, as I said, he doesn't take remarks for granted. And I don't need to pass his PR, that's true, but you know, the usual stuff that we are on time pressure, and I really don't want to be the guy who blocks it. And he already sometimes makes bullshit, basically. DMs me with links to how stuff should be done, though it's irrelevant, and fixes SonarCube issues blindly just because and not logically. Yes, yes. Pure functions are nice, that's true. But again, it's... Do you actually manage the complexity well with functional paradigm? Because, I mean, you lose polymorphism, you lose encapsulation and other things through FP. You still have abstraction. Encapsulation isn't a lie. Why do you say so? It's not. It's not a problem. Yes. But you want polymorphism. Why wouldn't you want polymorphism? Well, DDD... I mean, yes, those are unrelated, but how do you achieve polymorphism for functions? You have overloads. That's the only polymorphism functions have. Generics aren't polymorphic behavior. It's quite different. No, they're not. Generics means they are... Generics means that things do the same, like for different types you do the same thing. And polymorphism says that for different types you do different things. So it's like, to me, generics is command and polymorphism is a strategy. That's the distinction to me, I'd say, if you compare it to design patterns. That's how I teach... It's overload, it's static polymorphism, it's not dynamic polymorphism. Well, when I said strategy and command, comparing strategy to polymorphism and command to being more generic, I did have Gang of 4 patterns, yes, in mind. For example, in C#, when I'm teaching when should you choose between a generic class and an interface with polymorphism, I'm saying that if your method should do the same thing with different types, then that is generic. If your method should do different thing with the same type, or rather with the same subtypes, that's polymorphism. That's, I think, the major distinction between being generic and being polymorphic. Though yeah, that is probably a kind of polymorphism. One is dynamic and the other one is static. Time, not future. Plus 5. If the code is complex. If you have a switch statement, I think the refactoring solution would be turn that to strategy. And yeah, just have a factory of strategies based on the condition. A dictionary of delegates of lambdas is also possible if it's just a key. You know, based on a key you get the function that does the work. And there is no if statement then as well, so it's also an option. Union types. Hash map, yeah, hash map for functions. For lambdas, yes. You pass a key, which is, let's say, how your factory would work. Yes, I really want to try F#. I think if I fail the job interview tomorrow, I actually have that interview tomorrow, I will try F#. I don't care if I fail it or succeed, but it would be really nice to have the title of... so tomorrow I'll be interviewing for Java coding instructor interview, because I love teaching. And it's just fundamentals, it's no advanced stuff. And I think I have very solid fundamentals, like how to write good code, how to... what's solid, what's object-oriented programming, how to use Git, SQL, stuff like that, you know, your core developer knowledge. So yeah, I'm just trying my luck and seeing if I can... Yeah. It's for a bootcamp. So that's another thing why. I want to see how other bootcamps do it. So it's for Java bootcamp. Half a year Java bootcamp. I'm not gonna teach for the whole half a year. I'm gonna teach for the first few months, for the first topics. If I get through. And yeah, Ploek, I've read a bunch of articles. They will pay me, yeah. Actually, I can say the number, which is probably going to sound very small to you, but it's okay to me, which is 18 euros an hour. Plus plus days 1. It does sound good, but keep in mind that's teaching, so I would obviously have to prepare. That's just teaching time. That's not preparation time included. That's just the time I spend with people live. If it's brutto, yes, it's brutto, and it's for half a day on weekends. So that is also probably a big drawback that cuts the pay. It's brutto, it's on weekends. It's not after taxes, it's not net. Yeah, yeah. Taxes is like, I think, 15%. But they said the rate is scalable, it can go up to 30. I obviously wouldn't get 30. I think it's only 30. 15, I mean, sorry. Requires time, not future. Okay. Where are you from, by the way, Thermal Man? Romania. Okay, for Romania, I think, yeah, it's a good salary. I think Romania has similar standards like Lithuania. Date. So we say from global from like 40%, okay. Maybe I'm mixing something, maybe it's 30, but definitely not 40. It's time, not future, date. Equals. Alright. No, what am I doing? I'm starting to pass out and do random stuff. Catch exception. Yeah, I'm a bit scared. Like, you know, Java is very similar and I'm not very struggling, and I probably won't be questioned by stupid details, I hope. If they just question me the way I understand what you can do and how, not exactly in syntax, then I'm good. But if they ask me to live code something with Java, then it's pretty much fucked. I have 3 days of Java coding experience and I have 4 years of C# experience. That's professional experience. I don't consider university experience because that's, yeah, because that's poop. University wasn't a great place for learning or for getting those valuable lessons of programming. Right. catch throwable. They might get you to write a small algorithm, but other than that, you should be good. I don't mind writing a small algorithm. Unless it's stupid, like, okay, FizzBuzz is easy, but if they come at me and say, could you please implement radix sort? I would be quite disappointed if they ask me to implement a specific algorithm that I don't know of. Yeah, you know why I'm saying that? Because they have included that. They have included all the sorting algorithms. Radix, bubble, merge, and so on. I know merge sort and bubble sort, and I'm happy with that. I don't care about the rest. So what's your opinion when people ask to do something like that? Like some niche sorting algorithm to implement on the spot. Personally, that pisses me off. Because you are... This is a bit too loud, I think. Yeah, it's a conversation. So, I think the best way to question people is to give them 20-30 minutes of coding, but ask them to make a very simple thing, like absolutely simple thing, but do it properly with tests, thorough testing, properly, check if it works, explain what you did, talk while you test, while you write code. I think that's the way to do it. Obviously, include the tech interview, the theory questions. So regarding this, if you think 30 minutes is long, I had an interview with a senior .NET developer who works at Microsoft. Guess how long are interviews in Microsoft for live coding, for doing whiteboard parts? Guess how long? Basically, yeah, 5 hours. And not with one person. There are 5 people that rotate one by one, 1 hour each, that question you different things and ask you to solve different problems on a whiteboard. And you don't have a break, you just do stuff. That's for a senior .NET HTTP client. Well, he supports HTTP namespace, basically. That single interview, by the way, those 5 hours was a single interview. Yeah, you do have to prepare a lot. Yeah, and what they're searching for is all often self-learning. Okay, thrown assert that if Google shuts down and you can't Google a sort. Yes. Actually, you don't need to Google it because you still have frameworks that do that. So assert that exception of type future birthday exception class thrown by the cancer syntax. And with message containing date that failed. The string, I guess. And this one is quite easy. Not future. Assert that thrown has message does not throw any exception. Yeah, fair enough. Null pointer exception. How is this null pointer exception? What the hell? How is this null pointer exception? What the fuck? Because, no. What the fuck? NPE. I don't know. I really don't know. What is NPE? Are you serious? This is... Fuck you. This is stupid. This is really stupid. Really? Do people abbreviate it like this? Oh god. I'm fucked then. Yeah. Well, look at the problem I have right now. Boo-hoo. Looks familiar, I bet. I have local... How is it possible that it throws no? It's crazy. It's insane. It's possible. No. No, what the hell? No. What am I doing? Java's garbage collection. I'll just explain it in very basic terms. Fuck. I can only explain the very basics, and I am just explaining it based on how C# garbage collection works, if it works the same way. So basically, garbage collection is used for collecting memory that's initialized by when you create objects. And when objects leave scope, or when they are no longer referenced by anything else, they have no meaning in code. And instead of them being zombies and meaningless, their memory should be collected. Okay, engines of garbage collection. I have no idea. I know that in Java you can have your own garbage collector implementation, though I don't know why would you want that. But other than that, I don't know. Could you explain? That would be useful. So... Okay. Oh, I see, I see. Java garbage collection frees up memory every time an object is no longer used in Java 8. In Java 8 Plus, most performance comes with new garbage collection. Well, that's what I said, I think. When it's no longer used, referenced or leaves the scope. Requires time, not future. Date plus days. So it threw because, yeah, sorting error. The compound problem based on the date from earliest to latest. It's consistent with equals, define comparable. If all dates bring local date, then the comparison will be entirely based. Let's look at the code instead. The fuck? How does this work? Okay, I see. So basically, if it's more than one, it's future. If I understand correctly. Stack and heap is important, right? So I could explain stack as something where method definitions and local memory value type memory sits, and heap as where all the dynamic memory comes when you create objects. To be more precise, references, the values of references themselves are sitting on a stack, and the memory that the objects themselves take sits on the heap. So I guess that would be enough. It's quite easy because it's matching with C#. Other than custom GC engines. Final and finalize. Actually, is final and finalize the same as disposable in C#? It's like, for unmanaged resources, you need to manage them yourself. So I guess you need to finalize them, which the pay with letters. It's not the same. Okay. Okay. Anyways, final Lego seal. Oh, right. So, yeah. Final is like a seal or like a constant. Basically, you cannot change it. Finally is from catch, and finalize is from unmanaged resources. Right? Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's a good question for a noob. Yeah, definitely. I don't know. You know, if they ask me about oh, I actually have a question for you. Because that was the first thing I heard about it, even though it's a pattern. I wrote about it. Yeah, solid is easy. Do you know anything about about this. Do you know anything about double-checked locking singleton? Because in C# I haven't heard about it. But I'm curious to read about it. And I'll read about it right now. Double-checked locking singleton. To begin with, let's consider single draconian synchronization. What the fuck is draconian singleton? So it's a singleton with synchronized keywords, where this combination leads to bad code. Singleton is a bad design pattern. It is a bad design pattern, but how do you do inversion of control in Java? I also would like to know. C in Java. With Spring, is there anything else? What's IOC container that is not coupled with any framework like Spring? Because, you know, you inject a bunch of implementations, right? Wait, how do you manage inversion of control? What the fuck? I don't like what I see. Bean. Well, that's the standard way to prevent creating... Wasn't it Head First Design Patterns, the book that you're referring to? Because I think that book also has examples in Java. Anyways, look. Fuck, I really hate this. This inversion of control sucks. Yeah. I really hate this. If this is how you configure inversion of control, this is really bad. Beans. Not really, okay. That's the old way in XML. What the fuck is the new way? Why would you want to configure it in XML? Latest version, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Looks like this, maybe, but this is still the same XML stuff. Annotations. Okay. I won't get deeper, just nice to be aware that you use those beans and it's Spring. Can you do inversion of control outside Spring? Is there any like explicit library that you could include? Google guys for IOC. Okay. Let's see. So we have a logger. Oh, nice. Though, yeah. Though, again, this, I mean, that's Spring. No, it says guys. What? So confusing. Field injection, method injection, constructor injection. Oh, nice. Yeah, I see. So, actually, from the look of it, the inversion of control in Java is more powerful than in C#. Because in C# we only have constructor injection, nothing else. And here it seems that you can do field, method, as well as constructor, which is quite cool. So are you saying that I can inject SMS comms as a field that is private and not exposed as through constructor? Is that what you're saying? Oh, fuck. Yeah. So is in Spring, is it the same way in Spring that you can also just annotate it with those attributes? Policies. Cool. Auto wire it in Spring. Really? Okay. That's very interesting line. Cool. Why? Okay, run. At my workplace, since I'm working not in a Lithuanian workplace. It's like Lithuanian branch, but I'm communicating with UK people. I'm working at TransUnion, and TransUnion is a global company with 5,000 employees. So it's mostly USA, but I'm working with UK people because there is a branch. I'm working with Lithuanian and UK people. So when we are between Lithuanians, we talk in Lithuanian. When we're with UK people, you talk in English. Why the fuck? Yeah, we do say cheers a lot. And mate. What else? Cheers, mate. Thanks. Bollocks. No, tea, not that much. What am I getting wrong? I don't understand this. Some dates magic. Yeah. So the result is actually -1. So I'm comparing. I'm comparing 2020-07-21, which is 1 day ahead from now. Oh, I got the results opposite. Right, I see. I meant, what's the relation of this date to the other one? So I will just invert it. Okay, and this will work. Yes, in C# there is a tool called Resharper. I can actually show it how it looks like. But it's paid. But I am supported by JetBrains, so they send me 2 monthly licenses. Right. Basically, C# makes it very similar. Like, you know, this syntax where you have this bulb that pops up and all the hints and stuff. For example, yeah. For example, if I do something like public void test and let's say bool test, and I say return true, you will see that it's underlined and I can use this bulb. I actually don't think this is Resharper. I'm not sure, but this might be Resharper. Anyways, Resharper is here. And there is also this refactor thingy. Again, I don't remember if this is Resharper or not, but I know that before that wasn't here. So yeah, you can do stuff like this with Resharper. Refactor, this is Resharper. Okay. Not very useful. Let's say I'm missing a assembly. Okay, it doesn't suggest me to include it. Great stuff. I don't remember what I use Resharper for actually. Because I haven't coded without Resharper for 2 years now, so I don't really know what's unique. Oh, right. You don't have code coverage by default. Or do you? Right, I don't think you have code coverage by default, so Resharper gives that. What else? Yeah, Enterprise is paid though. Project dependency diagram. You also get that in Wow, look at this diagram. Holy shit, look at all those dependencies. Wow. It's totally worth paying $200 for. Look at that. Can I step in? Whoa. Amazing. Okay. Basically, Resharper makes it more like Rider. And if you don't know what Rider is, it makes it more like IntelliJ IDEA style of helps pop-ups like this one that just comes immediately. Yeah, okay. So let's run this test because I think I fixed it. Good. So let's do code coverage and see what the results are. Right. So what? Right. Now minus years, minus days, -1. Why is it? Oh. So, so if I'm born a year and 1 day ago from now, why is my age not 1? I don't get it. I really don't get it. Everything is possible until you make it possible. Wasn't invented then. That's big brain developer logic. Okay, am I at the test? I am at the test. Okay. Great, I have no idea what that is. Fuck is this shit? 1 year, 1 day. That's exactly what I want. But maybe my assertion was wrong. How do I new watch? -1. Oh. Oh shit. Current day and birthday. I should have swapped those two, you see. Okay. It doesn't work like in or does it? Fuck. Shit. What the fuck is going on? Oh god. Okay. Control Alt delete. Oh god, I'm stupid. Oh god. Oh god. It's late. It's like when I saw one streamer playing GTA 5 and they said if you press F, the plane, you know, it will fly faster, and you know what happened. Okay, those are passing. No, I have arithmetic tests that are failing. So, not less or equal to 0 when positive does not throw. Right, doesn't take input. So if it's 1, it doesn't throw. And this one, not less or equal to 0 when 0 negative throws argument exception. Yes. Expecting argument, legal argument exception What was arithmetic exception? Really? Wait. Yeah, it's not arithmetic, it's illegal argument. Okay. Indeed. Nope. Let's look at our test coverage. See the number. Replace. I wanted to say look at that, but I won't say it because it's not 100%. Wait, it is 100%. Wait, it's not 100%. Shit. What am I missing? Honestly, what am I missing? Is it saying that I'm supposed to test all those getters and setters too, even though they're auto-generated? Is that what this means? Those 3 out of 9 methods. What are those 3 out of 9 methods? I have this tested, I have this tested, and I have this tested. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So, would you test those? Or would you not? In real code, like in enterprise application, where people rigorously care about tests, not individually. Is there any automated way to do that? Any smart way? Well, that is true. That just says it's not being used. So, okay, let's be smart then. Let's have a override. Ooh, cool. So it formats it to JSON. Okay. Let's test the string then. Can I have... Okay, I'll practice how JSON serialization works as well then. Okay. Jackson. What the name. Returns JSON person serialized to JSON. Jackson is such a dope name though. Okay. Let's open POM. Dependency. Artifact. Jackson. Jackson core? I'd say core. An object mapper. Probably this one. He said object mapper. Quite many. Hanner, Stockman, Project Monkey. Probably this one or this one. Jackson data bind. Okay. Jackson data bind. Okay. Where's the Maven thingy? I guess install is what I want. Okay. Let's go back to the project, tests. Let's create a utility. Let's call it test utils. Maybe, okay, I won't create it because I'm running out of time. I will just use it as is. Object mapper, read value. Object mapper. Is it static? No. Oh. I'm missing one M. Still nothing. Check no. Mapper, read value. Okay. Let's look at Maven Jackson data bind. Object mapper. What the fuck? Why couldn't I initialize it? Those names though, I love them. Why is it not working? Jackson core. Does it not recognize unless I import? I did MVN install. Well, there is already dependencies like assert J that I have in Maven. Well, I guess I'll try package. Well, sure. Gradle. Has anyone used Groovy here? Any thoughts on Groovy? Because I did dabble with Groovy a bit, and I kind of liked it. DSL capabilities are really cool. And if I go to other, shit, wrong place. Radars based on Groovy. Okay. No, it doesn't find it here as well. Weird stuff. Let's clean and let's build. Install. I don't see anything being added. Wait a minute. I am testing stuff. Maybe because I was debugging. Maybe not, I'm not sure. Maybe? Fuck. Ha 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 ha. Let's get something that's more known, like Mockito. Mock dependency. Mockito. Sure. It didn't work yet. I'm just trying stuff out. Trying this. There's no import seem to work. Doesn't matter. Some dependencies for some problems were encountered while building affect the model for version being deprecated. It's highly recommended to fix these problems because they threaten stability of your build. Shouldn't be a problem. Import dot oh, it seems to be added. Mockito. Yeah, it seems to be added now. I don't know. Well, the first issue was that I was debugging stuff. So I stopped it because it was broken if I installed it as debugging. The second issue is that, I don't know, it didn't work. So I restarted it. second time and it seemed to work. I don't know why. Whatever. Okay, good. So let's try. We have object mapper, and you said mapper read value. What does it do? Ugh, so much. Mapper write value writes JSON serialization. Read value. Let's create a person, I guess. More person. Arrange. Act. Assert. Okay. Read value person. Var JSON. Act person to string. Var formatted person. Assert that formatted person is equal to JSON person. JSON person. Okay. Let's look at it. Person birthday. Local date now is fine. Read value. What does read value accept? JSON parser. File, URI, string content, input stream byte, string plus class. What do you mean string plus class? Oh, okay. So I got it. I guess I don't want this then. I want to just serialize it. Because I mean, I shouldn't know that the person is actually JSON. I should just convert person to JSON because that's a convenient way to verify if the string matches my expectations, which is JSON, but not the other way around, I think. Jackson JSON serialize. Yes. Write value. Object mapper write value. S string. Thanks. Person. And why are you complaining? Oh shit. Yeah, as you mentioned, or maybe someone else mentioned, in Java, IO exceptions must be handled. Like you explicitly must say that you're handling those. Okay. The string, yeah, that's good. Looks good. The string returns person serialized the string at test. And this should make it 100% coverage. So much at stake, guys. Okay. Expecting to be equal to yeah. It's quite different though. Oh no, look how poor. Wait, no, it's not that bad. I really hate this. I really hate this. You too, have a good one. Have fun tomorrow at work. Oh. Person, wait. Yeah, it's not really a JSON. Yes, I'll let you know. Though I'm very busy, but I'll let you know. I'll let you know. Maybe not tomorrow, but on Wednesday I will stream something. Thanks for all the help. Bye. I will fix this and go to sleep as well. So it's not really JSON. It looked similar, but not really. Okay. Oh well. Right. I can just take the expectation, I guess, because I don't care that much. Person. Build person birthday. Local date of 2020. 05/25. That's my birthday. (2020) 05/25. Expected patronum. I'm so lame at laughing at my own jokes. Formatted person to string. Yeah, that's it. Looks about right. Returns expected. default ID formatted string. Because that was the default it gave. Oh shit. Run. What? Where have I missed something? Here did I miss something? Okay. The moment of truth. Really? Still not? You know how do I cheat? Easy. Easy. Don't do this, but this is how you cheat code coverage. Oh boy. Oh boy. Hacks. Code coverage hacks. From 40 to 100. 8 to 1. What did I miss? I missed setters. Okay. I missed setters for weight and height. I'm so cheap. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Run. Easy. I rest my case. Why is this one so big? How do I delete it? Expand the window. So weird. Wait, here we go. Cool. Time to make some screenshots. And this one. Quite many tests. Okay, get time. Dabbled with arithmetic validation, datetime, calculation difference. JSON serialization. And created a person class. And did 100% code coverage. Cool. What problems do my files contain? They have no problems. And push. Can I right click and push? Can I right click and push? I can. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Ba-da-bum, bum, 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 bum. Shame on me for yesterday, didn't study enough. Tomorrow I'll study, I think 1 or 2 hours. Actually, probably 1 hour before the interview. Maybe I'll slip 1 hour during work. Would like to cover Mockito a bit to look how mocking is done there. Actually, fuck it, I'll do it now. At least read. Let's see. Setting repository, get user min age, then return 10. So this is equivalent to mock use setup, and this is return equivalent. What does lenient mean? I don't know. Please note the use of lenient here. Mockito throws unsupported stubbing exception when initialize mock is not called by one of the test methods during execution. You can avoid the strict stubbing by using method when initializing the mocks. Okay. Interesting. When get username and length, then return 4. Mockito lenient when username already exists, then return false. Okay. So this is like a generic setup. Makes sense? Oh, nice. Give it 110. Verify. Yeah, it's the same. Very similar like mock-u. Easy. How do you make an actual mock? You don't. Just pass repository. Building test class, user service. Mock. Let's see. some more examples. Example class list should add something. Example test. How to use Mockito? Mockito extension. Book reader, and there's mock book. Okay. Cool. Test print content, mocked book. Okay. G something. Jesu. G something. I don't remember. Okay, whatever. Thank you guys for watching. See you on Wednesday. Bye.